Hello besties and welcome back. So this is the monthly video, my reading wrap up. I am sick right now, so I apologize if there is sickness things going on in this video, but we are just gonna hop right in and knock this out so I can go take a nap and hopefully recover. The first book series I started reading was the Prison Healer series. I technically read this one in September, but if you don't know what the series is about, it is about Kiva, who is the prison healer, and the prison she's at is literally like a death trap. Like, you get in and you don't leave, and the rebel queen comes in and is super sick, and Kiva has to try and heal her, and then the queen is set to compete in these trials, but she can't because she is so sick, so Kiva takes her place and does so. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. It was so good. I loved the characters of it, and to me it was really interesting. I've heard people say that like the first half and most of the book was boring, but to me, I guess I kind of like reading about like the mundane everyday conversations and things that were happening if I like the characters, because I ate it up and I didn't feel bored at all. To me, it was like normal, if not fast paced. So if you don't connect with the characters, it might be a little slow, but if you do connect to them like me, it will be hopefully fast paced. So I technically read in September, but I wanted to give you a little background because I read the second and the third book in October. The second book is The Gilded Cage. This one I ended up giving 4 stars. I just had a hard time getting into this one. Like, I feel like this might have been what it was like for people reading the first one, but to me it was just slow and I couldn't get into it, and honestly not a lot happened, and I don't really even remember what happened in this book, but it definitely does set up for the third one. Good. Not a lot happened in this one. It was still good and I liked the characters. And then the last one, this is probably my favorite out of the series, another 5 star. This one was like so action packed and there was stuff happening throughout and there were so many twists and turns, and it was just so good, and I loved the characters so much, and I really like her writing too. I'm currently reading another one of her books. We'll get into that at the end of this. That is this series. I really love it so much. I know like a lot of people can say it's boring, but I feel like you either think it's boring or that it's interesting, and I'm on the interesting side. So, and then I read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Now I feel like I don't really oftentimes connect to romance books that much, and it really takes a lot for me to love a romance book, because I like completely forgot I read this. It was enjoyable when I read it, but like it's not anything that stuck with me. I ended up giving it like a 3 star. It was good and entertaining, and I liked the guy in this and kind of like the plot that it centered around, where she was like fake dating guys and she fake dated the main guy's brother, and that's how they kind of connected. I liked how she was like working on something with her job and trying to figure that out too. It was interesting, but it didn't really stick with me, you know what I mean? So that's why I gave it a 3 stars. I've heard a lot of people absolutely love this book. I read it in my booktuber's favorite books video, whatever, and like everyone I follow or watch gave this 4 or 5 stars. It just takes a lot for me to connect with romance books. Okay, the next book I read, Red Rising. This book took me 4 months to read, you guys. I started this April, May, something like that, and I got like 50% through, and then I just couldn't understand it. It's just a little above my reading level, I feel. I have never read sci-fi before, so I understood kind of the gist of it, but like when it got down to like the names, certain politics, it was just not computing for me. So that is why it took me 4 months, I guess. But I can recognize that this is a good book and he has good writing and just it's a good story. But for me, it took me a while to figure out what was happening. Clearly 4 months, but I ended up giving this book, I want to say, a 4 star, because although it did take me a long time to read, it wasn't because I wasn't enjoying it. I was enjoying it when I read it. I was just confused, and when I look back at this book, I'm like, wow, there was like a lot that happened and a lot that I wasn't expecting. Like, I didn't really know what this book was about going into it. I just feel like a lot happened in this book. It is very interesting and like unlike anything I've ever read. It's kind of like sci-fi Hunger Games ish, which I didn't know that's what it was going into this book, so I was pleasantly surprised when that was going on. It was very interesting, kind of gory a little bit. That's Red Rising. And then this is where it gets fun. So I reread and read the entire Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I had already read Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After in February-ish, but I wanted to reread them in preparation for the third book. I did film my reread and reading that, so if you want to go watch it, go watch. So Once Upon a Broken Heart, I think I gave this 4 stars when I originally read it, and I'm sticking with the 4-star rating for the reread. I don't know, something about this, I had a hard time getting into this one. I don't know why, I just wasn't really clicking with the story. I can't really remember if that happened the first time I read it too, but I just had a hard time getting like invested in the story and like wanting to pick the book up. I do love this world, I love the characters, and I feel like this story is just so magical and fun, and it's just like easy to read. Like if you want to get into fantasy, I recommend this series. It's just so fun. But basically, essentially, Evangeline is our main character, and she makes a deal with this fate. It's kind of like, I compare them to gods. Like, I don't really know how else to explain it, but he is the Prince of Hearts, and she makes a deal with him. She makes the deal in order to stop her sister's wedding because her sister is getting married to the guy she loves. It was just fun. It was interesting. It was cool to see their deal and just like what went down. I just had a hard time getting into it. I feel like I wasn't really in the mood to reread this series, but I felt like I had to, and I wanted to make the video, so I kind of forced myself to. Once I got like 50% into this book, I was like hooked into it and wanted to binge it. Maybe a little bit of a slow start for this one, but it gets good. And now The Ballad of Never After. This book was an easy 5 stars. This book was so action-packed, so fun. The romance in it, chef's kiss, incredible, so good. I love just like the side characters too. It was just so fun. It was so action-packed, and there is just so much going on in this one, and it is just so magical. And I like the setting of this book more than the first one because she kind of goes to a different part of the world, and in this one it's just better vibes, I guess. This one was an easy 5 star. It was so interesting. The ending literally was crazy. With that crazy ending, it had me super hyped up for the 3rd book. I read the 3rd book. It was like a little emotional and kind of hard to read at first because of how the 2nd one ended, but I ended up giving this book a 4 star. What was that? A 4 star. It was really enjoyable, but honestly, it let me down. It let me down. I was expecting it to be much more action-packed than it was. Like, I wasn't necessarily bored, but I was kind of like waiting for more to happen the whole time. And I feel so strongly that there was so much missing from this book. Like, I could literally list off probably 5 characters who I have no clue how their story ended, like, and I have questions. Like, I want to know how their stories ended and what happened with them, because literally there were multiple characters who weren't even in this book at all, but yet they were big parts in this series, or at least had some sort of significance that they should have definitely been, you know, wrapped up saying, oh, so-and-so's doing this now, whatever. I just feel even in the plot, there is some things that are missing, like important things. Like, I just want to like say what I am talking about, so you know, but like, I just feel like there's just a lot missing. I have so many questions still. Like, I could send her an essay about all the questions I have. I did still enjoy it. It was fun. Since I do love this world and these characters so much, it was so interesting, and there were parts of it that were fun and interesting, but like I said, I was expecting a lot more from this book, because this is usually the fantasy formula. First book, intro, which that is kind of what this was. 2nd book starts to get crazy. 3rd book is absolutely insane, whereas the 2nd book in this series was absolutely crazy, and the 3rd book was like meh. With that negativity aside, I did really enjoy it. I loved the characters. I liked how it wrapped up, and how certain things wrapped up was perfect. So that is A Curse for True Love. Still definitely read it, and she did end the book like kind of setting, not really even setting it up, but just hinting that there's gonna be another one. It's not even really a spoiler to read you the last line, because it's just like, it just says other stories were brewing in the north. I'm assuming we're gonna get a spin-off, but like, even with this spin-off, there's questions I have about the main characters that need to be answered from the main character's book. So anyways, I digress. I also wanted to pop on and say that I understand that this may have been purposeful, but my brain, I need closure. Like, I still think about what certain characters are up to. Like, for me and how my brain is wired, I need closure. Like, I need a set ending to the book. I get it though, if she did this on purpose, but for me, I really enjoy closure. That is that. And then I read The Ex-Hex, which was also kind of disappointing, but with saying that, I tried to read this last year. I think I got like 50 pages in and then I DNF'd it basically. I just couldn't do it. And same with this year, I did finish it. I did skim a good chunk of this book. Like I said, I just really haven't been in the romance book mood at all lately. I just kind of felt like I had to read this since I tried last year and failed. You know, either want to read this or get rid of it, you know? The vibes were good in this book, like the witchiness. I just couldn't really connect to the characters and I just didn't really care. And I'm not saying like that it's a bad book, but personally, I just haven't really been in the romance mood lately or found ones that I really love. But the main premise of this is, her name's Vivi. She dated this guy when she was a teenager and she accidentally puts a curse on him because she's a witch, and he comes back like 10 years later or so, and then they didn't think they actually cursed him, but they find out that they actually did. So they're figuring that out, and there's other plot points going on, but it was okay. I mean, it was fun for the season and the vibes were good, but it's nothing I will probably think about again, honestly. So, and then I am currently reading this book, but I'm gonna finish it before the month is over. So I wanted to talk about it here, and then I'll add the rest of my thoughts in after this. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put the picture here. It is also by Lynette Noni, who wrote the Prison Healer series, and I just wanted to read this because, well, first up, Target was having their like some sale on books, so I bought these two, which are part of the series. I thought they were the first and second books. They're the second and third books, unfortunately. So I got the first one on my Kindle and I'm reading it, and it is okay. There's not a ton happening in it, but like I said earlier, if I like the writing and the characters and just like the vibes, I won't care if the series is like mundane and they're just like, you know, eating breakfast, going to class, all that. So this one, it's been fine. There literally has not been like anything that happened, but it's about our main girl Alex. She is going to this like boarding school, and when she gets there, she actually gets transported to this like magical school. I don't really know what the main like plot is of this book. I literally have no clue, but so far it's just pretty mundane and I'm almost 50% through the book. So once I finish it, I will let you know more of my thoughts, but so far it's kind of cringy at some points and just like a little annoying, but I am enjoying it because I like her writing. Hi, I finished the book. I gave it, I want to say, a 3-star as of now. I have found myself thinking about the book though and the characters, so we might bump it up. I'm not for sure, but not a ton happened in the book. But I do feel like it kind of set up for the series well, and I did really enjoy it, honestly. It was really fun, and like I said, I enjoy reading about mundane things sometimes, so that's that. A solid book, and if I keep thinking about it, we might bump it up. I really want to get into the next one in the series now. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, let me know down below. Get very excited for my next video that's going to be out because it is going to be a really good one. It has to do with a super popular book and its sequel that is coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. It is going to be so much fun and I literally cannot wait. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.